So continuing on from my prospects for Dana White's Contender Series in 2023, I'm going to be talking about featherweights that need to be on Dana White's Contender Series. I've got 23 featherweights in front of me here, but I do feel like I might have missed one or two really good fighters, so let me know in the comments if I've missed anyone. The reason why I'm doing this so early is actually the first fight announced for Dana White's Contender Series in 2022 was announced in March. So if fights have been announced in March, April, then that means that they're going to be doing their scouting right about now. So now's a good time for me to be doing my scouting for Dana White's Contender Series. Let's go through my featherweights on my list. Paul Hughes, he's from Ireland, he's 9-1. I think he's a show-in, man. These aren't really in any particular order, but I do think Paul Hughes is very almost guaranteed going to be on Dana White's Contender Series. He dominated Jordan Vasenik in the main event of Cage Warriors 145 and has really made a name for himself there. He's from Ireland. UFC will be looking to get more Irish and UK fighters as they do continue heading to the UK more than once or twice a year. So I think Paul Hughes is a pretty good option for Dana White's Contender Series. Now, my laptop is really slow right now, especially when recording a video. So the next one is, sorry for the awkward break, Mike Linares. He's 17-3. I think this guy should be a shoo-in. This guy has put some really good wins on his record. Although they are two split decisions, he beat Mikhail Lima, who was 17-3 at the time by split decision. And then he beat Andre Harrison, who was 22-2 at the time. And at one point was 20-0 going into the PFL. I think that Mike Linares would be a very good addition to Dana White's Contender Series as well. The next one is Jose Delano. He's 12-2. I believe he's right now in the middle of an LFA tournament, and the final is going to be against Gabriel Santos, who is 9-0. I personally feel like Jose Delano is going to win this one and end up as 13-2, sorry. But if Gabriel Santos wins, I think that he will be a shoe-in for Dana White's Contender Series as well. But Jose Delano has just looked so good since he signed to LFA, and I don't see him losing to Gabriel Santos. The next one here is loading, but it's Rudy Gavidia. He's from Peru, and I don't really think it's too much of a secret that the UFC is probably going to want to start signing more fighters from Peru. I mean, they gave Dan Hooker just recently fought. Oh man, Claudio Puelles. They gave Claudio Puelles a massive opportunity to fight Dan Hooker on the UFC 281 main pay-per-view card. They just signed Santos, I forgot his name, I think Gabriel Santos, Daniel Marcos, sorry. Last year on Dana White's Contender Series, he was from Peru. I think Rudy Gavidia, 19-3. If he gets a win on Dana White's Contender Series, he's going to be 20-3. He's also fought some really good levels of competition as well, and is on a pretty good win streak, so I think that he would also be a great addition to Dana White's Contender Series. The next one is Daguia Imavov. It's no secret the UFC is definitely going to be wanting to sign more French fighters. They said that they want to return to France at least once every year, and to do that, they're going to have more French fighters on the roster. At the moment, they don't really have many, so they're going to have to start signing more fighters from France, and I think Daguia Imavov could be a pretty good option. He's 14-3. I believe he's fighting at 145, and I do believe he's going to... Oh, that's right, sorry, he's going to be fighting Felipe Colares, who's actually a former UFC fighter. I believe he recently just got released as well after losing to Chase Hooper. And I think if he gets past Felipe Colares, I think he's going to prove that he is a UFC level fighter. And yeah, this fight is taking place at 145 as well. So I think we're going to see Daguia Imavov in Dana White's Contender Series next year if he can beat Felipe Colares. The next one that I'm going to be talking about is Giuseppe Ruggieri. There is some very faint rumours that the UFC is going to be going to Italy. And I believe it's more of a... Well, they were talking about it over the France sort of card, that they're just trying to find a location to put on the event. And the thing is, they'll have to have Marvin Vettori at least coming off a win, or at least having a little bit of hype behind him, so he can main event the card. But another thing they're going to have to do is sign more Italian fighters. There's not really many Italian fighters on the UFC roster, aside from Vettori off the top of my head. I'm sure there is a couple more, but if they're going to do that, they're going to need more Italian fighters. We've got an undefeated featherweight here, Giuseppe Ruggieri, 8-0. He's got a couple of good wins in his career, 9-4, 10-7. I think it's time that maybe we put him in Dana White's Contender Series and sign him and maybe do a Italy card in 2024. The next one is another Italian fighter, Federico Pasquale. I believe he's actually coming off a draw to Harry Hardwick, who's also on this list, by the way. But I think that this is another guy that makes sense. I know it doesn't really make too much sense to put him on Dana White's Contender Series off a draw, But I think it's just got to be done. If the UFC wants more Italian fighters, which I think is what they're going to want, if they're going to be trying to put on a show in Italy, they're going to need to start signing more Italians. So let's go Federico Pasquale. And then the next guy, as I just mentioned, is Harry Hardwick. He is on the list as well. He's actually George Hardwick's brother. And George Hardwick is a very good prospect. I believe he's going to end up in the UFC someday. And he's also on my lightweight list, which will be coming out sometime soon. But yeah, he had a draw with Federico Pasquale. And then since then he bounced back against a pretty good win over an 18-8 opponent. He's also beat Con Monde, who's a pretty good regional fighter. He's been around a bit. A 9-2 and 8-2 opponent as well, and he did lose to Richie Smellin in 2020. But we know that Richie Smellin's a pretty good fighter. So I think Harry Hardwick and George Hardwick, put them both on the same card. You got two brothers on the same card. I think that makes sense. Next one is Ali Guliev. He's 7-0. He's from Azerbaijan. I mean, people went absolutely crazy for Nariman Abasov on Dana White's Contender Series last year. I believe it's just so much support from that country, from the people that live there. We're going crazy for him, and I think that maybe it could be good to capitalize on that sort of thing. He's got a couple really good wins in his career. When he was 4-0, he defeated a 3-0 opponent, and then when he was 5-0, he defeated a 10-0 opponent, and then when he's 6-0, he defeated an 8-2 opponent. I think Ali Guliev could be a pretty good addition to Dana White's Contender Series. Undefeated. He's from Azerbaijan, and he's pretty young as well, I believe. Off the top of my head, he's quite young. But the next one is Aaron Kanate. He's 10-0. He's from Ecuador. He's also pretty young. He's 26 years old. He hasn't really fought the best levels of competition. I mean, it has been going up and down. He's fought a 6-1 opponent, but he's fought a couple of guys with losing records and 12-6, this and that. But he is 10-0 at the end of the day, and he is 5-0 as an amateur as well. So I think it should be a pretty good opportunity to give him an opportunity at Dana White's Contender Series. 10-0, 26 years old. I mean, he's going to have to start fighting decent competition at one point. Why not do it in Dana White's Contender Series? Next one is Omar Solomonov. He's from Ukraine. He's 11-2 and 30 years old. He hasn't fought in 2022, but he has been beating pretty good opponents over at Brave. 5-2 opponent, 25-6, 10-6 and 3-0 are his last opponents. Before that, he was padding his record a little bit against not the best competition, but I think pretty good opportunity to get him signed to the UFC. The UFC recently signed Ihor Bateria, who's from Ukraine, so they're probably wanting to sign a couple more people from that area. So I think Omar Solomonov could be a good opportunity for Dana White's Contender Series. Dagui Imavov is on my list twice. Sorry. Next one is Kevin Pichi. He's from France. I've been saying this throughout my whole thing. The UFC is going to be wanting to put on French events at least once a year in Paris, and to do that, they're going to have more French fighters on the roster, so why not put Kevin Pichi on the roster? He's 18-5, he's 32 years old, so if something's going to happen, it's going to have to happen now. He's not really fighting the best competition either, which isn't really helping his case, but he's very experienced. He's had 23 professional fights. He's from France. I think maybe give him an opportunity. The next one is Emra Sonmez. Originally, it was actually going to be Adam Moschini, but Adam Moschini actually ended up losing to Emra Sonmez. So now it's Emra Sonmez, who's 14-4. He's from England. The UFC wants to put on more events in UK. The UFC is trying to build up a bit more of a fan base in Europe. Let's sign more European and English fighters. Emra Sonmez, I think, could be a pretty good option for that. Next one is Ali Guliev again. What was I doing putting these guys in twice? The next one is Justin Van Heerden. He's 11-5. He's from South Africa, but he represents Australia pretty heavily. And he doesn't have the best record in the world, but he has gone on a pretty respectable win streak. And if he beats Rod Costa, which will be a very, very good win, an underrated win, in my opinion, this will be big. And I think if Justin Van Heerden defeats Rod Costa, he needs to be on Dana White's Contender Series. In fact, this is actually a massive fight taking place in only a couple of months' time, really. I think it's actually the day before UFC 284, so I think it's definitely going to be a very exciting time. But I'm picking for Justin Van Heerden in that one. If Rod Costa wins, I think you put him there. The UFC is going to want more Australian fighters. I mean, they're putting on an event in Australia. They're probably going to want to do that maybe once every year, once every 2 years sort of thing. But to do that, they're going to have more Australian fighters on the roster. And also, it just kind of happens to be that Australian fighters are becoming quite popular in the American audience. So, yeah, Justin Van Heerden, I think he could be a pretty good addition to Dana White's Contender Series. Next one is Aguiu Kabesa. He's from Congo, from the African sort of area. I don't believe there's too many African fighters in the UFC, and I think that he could be a very good signing. He's 15-2. He's fought in EFC. UFC's trying to build up a fan base in Africa. You know what I mean? Like they've got Cameron Simon, they've got Dricus du Plessis. There's rumors, there's talks of putting on an event in South Africa. So to do that, there was even talks of having an event in Nigeria at one point, but to do that, man, we're gonna have to have some more African fighters on the roster, and I think the 15-2 Egu Kabesa could be a very good option. So I look forward to hopefully seeing him on Dana White's Contender Series this year. Next one is a Japanese fighter, Tokitaka Nakashini. I love the name. It's actually really awesome, Tokitaka Nakashini. No, I said it wrong. Tokitaka Nakanishi. Oh, it's still a very fun name to say. 10-3. He recently won, actually on Christmas Day, if you could believe it, over Jay Hwakbang, who was 10-6 at the time. He doesn't really have the best wins in his career, to be fair, but the UFC is always looking for Japanese talent or Japanese guys they can build up, and Tokitaka is only 26 years old. Dana White literally said last year, at last Dana White's Contender Series, that he's always looking for the next Japanese superstar, and yeah, maybe Tokitaka Nakanishi could be that. Now the next one, he's not from Japan, but he is from China, and we do know that UFC is trying to build up a fan base in China. They've got a UFC Performance Institute in Shanghai, China. We've got an undefeated Chinese fighter in Yueli Huang here. He's 10-0. And he hasn't really beaten the best competition, you know what I mean? But he's still 10-0 at the end of the day. At some point, he's going to have to start fighting decent levels of competition. I feel like maybe Dana White's Contender Series could be that. Yeah, I think he's just a good option. UFC is always looking to sign more Asian fighters, Chinese fighters as well. So Yueli Huang is 10-0. Could be a pretty good option. Next one is Robert Ruchala. He's from Poland. He's got some very good wins on his record. I mean, he beat Patrick Kazmarek. Oh my goodness, I'm not going to say his name. Patrick Kaczmarczyk, who's really good, a really good prospect, and then he beat the undefeated Michelle Boiano, and then he just recently went to a split decision with this guy, Damian Stasiak, but those are two really good wins on his record, man. He's 8-0, he is signed to KSW, so I don't know if he's on an exclusive contract, which is a little bit of a red flag, but he's 24 years old, he's 8-0, awesome. The UFC actually does need more Polish fighters as well. I can't really name many more Polish fighters apart from Jan Blachowicz, unless there's more that I can't think of. But Kang Yizhu is another Chinese fighter. He's 15-3, same sort of thing. Hasn't really fought the best competition in the world. He has fought in one FC though, way back early on in his career, which is interesting. Or maybe where is it? I can't find the one fight. Which he fought. There we go. One Hero Series. I believe that's it. But anyway, he fought in one FC once, which is cool. He's got experience under a big promotion. He's 15-3. He hasn't really fought the best competition at all, but he's on a good win streak right now, and I think that he could be a good opportunity to sign another Chinese fighter. Kevin Vallejos, he's from Argentina. He's 9-0. He's 21 years old. Hasn't fought the best competition in the world, but he did recently win his test, which was 17-9. Before that, he just fought guys that weren't really that great. But he had a test against an experienced 17-9 opponent. He passed that test. He won that fight by decision, and I think it may be time to build on him. He's 21 years old, man. He's from Argentina. And we know how much Argentina loves their sports, and I feel like maybe MMA should try and break into that Argentinian fan base. Like, they've got Esteban Rodovich, who is an 11-0, 11 finishes lightweight, 9-0 Kevin Vallejos, could be a good opportunity. Another Argentinian fighter, 7-0 Mariano Pupi, with he's 29 years old, and he's 7-0 with 6 finishes, which is pretty cool. Like, he does have a decision winner for a 1-0 opponent, which is a bit of a red flag, to be fair, but he does have a very extensive amateur record, 12-2. And I think he could be a good signing as well. Mariano Pupi, 7-0 as an amateur, as a pro, 12-2 as an amateur. Sorry guys, I am really sick at the moment. But thankfully we're at the end. So before I start coughing everywhere, thanks for watching. I will need your help in the comments below though, because I know we would have missed a couple of really good prospects. So do let me know in the comments below if there's anyone that you think I missed. I'm definitely looking for returning Dana White's Contender Series fighters as well, because it is pretty common for Dana White to bring back fighters that were on Dana White's Contender Series, but I haven't found a good featherweight suitable yet, so let me know. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I'll be making a video about lightweights, welterweights, all that sort of thing, and also UFC 283 predictions will probably come out sometime soon as well, so thanks for watching.